Hello and welcome to Colleague 7 Sprint Review for 19.07.01. This will cover the work undertaken between the 25th of June to the 8th of July. Our sprint goal for this sprint has been to update the summary view on the search to allow for access to documents and to continue with the back office project with the instruction of the back office area. Looking at the high-level items and to explain further, in this sprint we've been able to complete the implementation of CK Editor 4. This has replaced our previous text editor and gives us spell checking options and enhanced pasting features needed for retaining certain formatting. Also, among other features, you'll be able to paste images into the editor as well. I'll give a demo on this shortly. We've updated the summary view, which is currently only available off the main search, but will soon include a view documents option, allowing you to preview the documents held against a record. We've introduced the option to create tasks from a search result in bulk. This will be useful if you're creating follow-up tasks to a campaign or a call list for future use. The back office area as a section within Colleague has been introduced, along with an area that will list uninvoiced placements and charges. We'll now continue working in this area so that you can offer invoice and payment generation, printing and integration options. We've worked on an error which can occur when creating diaries and tasks in the event of service failure from MS Graph, and can now offer a retry option to prevent repetition of data entry. We've updated our SMS feature so that it supports international country codes. The placement selection search has been updated so that you can now search on authorization levels. We've set up a user group permission to support access to the reports area. And we've fixed an alert message within the company addresses area so that it works better from a UI perspective. We'll now go for a brief demonstration on the key features from this sprint. Okay, so there's a few things to go through as part of this sprint review. I'll start with one of the main components, which was the text editor upgrade that was delivered as part of not only this sprint, but also last sprint as well. It was a carryover for over the course of really a month's worth of work. And essentially what I mean when I'm referring to text editor is whenever you're generating an email or a letter, or you're updating a template or your email signature, what you have within the page is what's called a text editor. And that allows you to obviously enter in text, enter in images, styling, tables and whatnot, and essentially to create a formatted display of data as you'd want to. What we had with our previous text editor really was obstacles in terms of the features that it was able to deliver. So if I just demonstrate what the older one looked like, so this is what your current version would look like in terms of the text editor, and after the upgrade this is what the new one will look like looking at. But if I just go through the updates in terms of features that make it different, first and foremost it's the ability to use the in-browser spell check as one of the key points. So if you were to type in basically type in any wording as part of creating an email, creating a document, your in-browser spell checker is going to advise you of spelling mistakes, and what you can now do is just right click on that spelling mistake and then you'll have that option there to just select and correct there. The next point to cover was in relation to formatting. So what we've seen clients obviously do is create documents within Word, and then there'd be basically a desire to just simply paste those documents into the email and for the formatting to be retained. Now what we were seeing with the older editor is that if we tried to do that, things were being lost as part of that pasting process. And now what we can do is obviously see that formatting was retained, images are retained, table properties are retained as part of it, and it's just a better reflection of the text that's been copied in. If we were to put it into the older browser or the older text editor, you can see that the formatting is lost. You can see the image doesn't come across, the table properties are lost as well, and essentially it's a strimmed down version of the text that's been copied in, that's obviously been formatted from that Word document. So that's an interesting or helpful option for us moving forwards. The other option as well that is now available to us as well is the ability to deal with images when they are copied in literally through the paste function. So if you have an image that you literally just want to select and then just paste into here. Previously, that image wouldn't be retained if it was then emailed on as part of the older text editor, whereas now it's retained. So again, if you want to take screenshots, or if you want to just paste in images that you've sourced from other sources, you obviously still have the insert image option as well, which will launch the browse option against your your local device, so you can select other pictures. But if you want to just paste in pictures, those will be retained as expected. So those were the three kind of key features that we wanted to address as part of implementing this text editor. But it's also, as a text editor, given us more options as well further down the line. There are far more features available to us moving forwards using this tool. So it's a good upgrade for us. But that was a key update that was made there. The next point to cover is the update that's been made to the summary view within the search, and that's the ability to be able to view documents. So now when you're in a search, whether it be candidate, company, contact, or requirements, when you're looking at the search result, just as you could before, you have the means to select different records, and from the top right options here, what you have there is a summary view that becomes available as you're selecting records. If you select the summary view, that will then come out from the side there and give you access to fields in relation to as per you've set it up really, but access to fields that you want to see from the summary view. What we've added is an option within the summary view to view documents. So on selection of view documents against the record that you're looking at within the summary view, it will launch a partial view containing essentially the contents of that record's documents, as if you were on the documents tab of that record. It will by default show their default record in this display, but you'll have access to see everything. And if you select to view a PDF, it will show the PDF in a PDF viewer. If you select to see it in a docx file, it's going to show you that formatted version of a docx file here. If you select to see it in .doc, it then shows you in plain text, and obviously images pull through as well. What you can then do is obviously just navigate right to move on to the next record that you've selected in the search result, and obviously it's going to just show you the images or the documents associated to that record. You can close preview from within the summary view, and also close preview here as well. If we keep navigating along, again you'll see the documents load and it brings through those records, and just at any time you can then close those off. In instances where records do not have a document, what you'll see there is no documents will be displayed as the option there against that. So that's a non-responsive one. If you click on that icon, it does nothing there. So that's essentially the main update that's been made as part of the summary view. On the point of the summary view, just to highlight that it is our intention to deploy the summary view throughout the system, so it's available from selection screens, from tasks, from recent items, favorites, but we're essentially just working through a series of other items. We will get to it absolutely, and it will be deployed throughout so that it's kind of quick access to data and negates the need to have to open up records throughout the system. But it's something that we'll gradually get to over the course of the coming months as we're working through it. But that's the key update that we made there. Staying with the search, we'll now go through the second update that's been made in relation to the search area, and that's the ability to create tasks now. So what you can do from a candidate, company, contact, or requirement search is from a search results based on either selecting individual records or select all. Off the select records option, you've now got an option here for create tasks. So essentially, if you were looking to create a follow-up campaign, if you like, to perhaps a mail shot that you'd sent, or you're essentially looking to create a series of tasks in relation to calling these people that exist within this search result, you could create tasks from within here. It would present obviously the task form. Here we'll say call to discuss opportunity. We'll say that we're going to start this campaign, or start making these calls as of Monday next week, and we'll due to have it finished by Friday, and we'll have our reminder date Monday morning as a prompt to begin those calls. And then some text there as a comment within the text box. We hit save there. You'll see that we've got the notification confirming that tasks are being created. We get an alert message when that's finished, and then those tasks are done. If we now go over to our tasks area, we'll be able to see obviously those tasks now in place against our tasks, our task account, essentially our section here. So that's the kind of starting block in terms of creating tasks from a search result and offering that functionality there. There's still other features that we want to implement as part of the tasks area to help with regards to this type of workflow. As part of the next sprint, there'll be the ability to assign tasks to another user rather than just being able to create tasks against yourself. Which again, it's just another step forward towards being able to establish a task list and campaign managing that way. But that's the key update that we made as part of this sprint. The next point to cover, and it's a minor one, but it's worth covering all the same, is the addition of authorized level to the placement selection screen. So it's now possible from placement selection to be able to specify you're looking for perhaps only placements that are authorization level 1, say, run a search, and then it'll obviously only bring back those records at that authorization level. We have also added an additional column option as well to the options area for authorized level. So if you're running a search not including the authorization level, you could view their authorization level from that column option as well that's been added to this placement selection search. So that's a minor update we made there. The last point to cover is just an update on where we are with the back office project. So as part of this sprint, we have finally been able to build a back office area. This is off the back of months of work leading up to this point where we've built obviously the framework throughout Colleague 7 to support back office as a component. We now finally have a back office area. It will be switched off as part of your upgrade because it's obviously still in progress, but what I wanted to do is just give you some visibility on where we are. So the way it will work is off the main navigation there'll be this back office option available to you. That's if your user obviously has rights to view this area. And on selection of back office, similar to admin in terms of its layout, we have the back office functionality from an invoice perspective on one row, and then we have the payment related workflow in relation to back office on the next row, and then that obviously incorporates other functionality that we may want to implement further on in relation to perhaps timesheets and some other areas there. But in terms of where we are at the moment, you can select on, if you're ready to generate some invoicing, get some outstanding placements, you're able to click on generate invoicing or generate invoices even, and it will list all of the outstanding uninvoiced placements, timesheets, charges that you have in the system. You can filter by owning company. If you have multiple owning companies associated with your system, you can filter by whether it be timesheet, permanent placement or charge as well, and obviously you can filter by currency. We also have an invoicing frequency filter as well for here as well, so that it's possible to essentially filter down based on the records that you want to select to be generated as invoicing. You can also filter on company, so if I enter in a company name just for demonstration purposes, select there, and obviously you see that obviously it's everything just associated to that one company that's been listed there. And you can also hit reset options and it'll just restore back to showing everything that's outstanding presently. From here, essentially the expectation would be that you'd either select all or select a number of the associated records, and then you hit generate invoices, and then that's where we're up to in terms of our workflow to date. So the idea being is that you generate the invoicing from there, and then from within this area of list invoices, you then have a list of all the invoices that you've generated, and then from there you've obviously got the printing functionality, the sending of those invoices, and then we obviously move on to the integration component with Sage and other partners down the line. We've also got the manual invoicing and manual credit, which are components that we'll build as well, but that will then cover us for the invoice generation segment of the system. Just going back to the generate invoices area, the idea is that you've got columns that are appropriate to invoicing being listed here, but you've also got access to associated records from within here as well. So you can view the associated placement, the contact, the company, the candidate in relation to uninvoiced timesheets, placements and charges. But that's where we are currently. As part of the next sprint, we'll do the generation of invoicing, and then we'll just keep working it through over the course of the coming sprints until we've taken this project to conclusion. But that's just an update on where we are with back office. As always, if you have any queries or feedback, please get in touch. I'll be keen to hear from you. Also, for those using Colleague 7, feel free to submit your enhancement requests via the support team or directly to me using the above email address. The next video will be the sprint plan for 19.07.02, and as always, that will contain a high-level overview on the items we intend to work on during that sprint. Thanks for watching.